What is up, Jaguar students? It's your friendly neighborhood math teacher, Mr. Allred, and I would like to welcome you to Unit 4, mini lesson number 2 on percent of change and error word problems. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to explain how to find percent of change and percent of error from a word problem. Let's get started. I did want to make you aware that this is your second entry. Find children in the table of contents, Unit 4, mini lesson number 2 on percent of change and error. So here we go. Percent of change is the percent something increases or decreases from its original amount. Okay, we see it a lot of time when we're measuring things and estimating, and even in sales. Okay, but yesterday we talked about a proportion that we could use to solve percent word problems, and we can pretty much use the same proportion to solve these percent of change problems. Since they are still percent word problems, they still fall into that same category. But instead of putting the part over the whole, we're going to put the difference in the amounts over the original amount, because that's going to tell us how much an amount changed from where it started. So for example, if a class went from 35 to 31 students, that means it was at 35 and it dropped to 31. The original amount of students was 35. Now there's 31. So the difference is 4. Okay. Therefore, using that proportion where I put the difference over the original amount, I would take 4 and put it over 35, because I know that out of the 35 students, 4 of them left. So I can figure out what percent it changed by now setting it equal to a ratio that says x over 100, since percentages are out of 100. If I cross multiply, I get 35x equals 400. And I'm going to divide both sides of my little equation by 35. And that tells me that there was about 11.4% change from original to new. Okay. That was just one example of a percent of change problem. And remember, you can set it up by putting the difference over the original and setting it equal to the percentage over 100. I want you to read number 1. At the beginning of the week, the amount of money collected was $97. By Friday, the group had collected $569. What is the percent of change? Remember, you need to find the difference in the original amount and then set it equal to x over 100. I want you to try to solve it real quick on your own and then tell Edpuzzle what you got. Great job. I'm glad you tried to solve that equation for me. Here you go. You should have found that there was somewhere in the lines of a 486.6% increase in the amount of money. Okay, it is more than possible to have a percentage that's bigger than 100, because look at the amount of money they had. They had $97. By Friday, they had a whole bunch of money. They had $569. Okay, so always remember that it is more than possible to have a percentage bigger than 100%. Sorry, it's really early in the morning, and it's hard for me to form words. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Okay. Percent of error, we'll look at number 2 in stations tomorrow. Percent of error problems is pretty much the same thing, but it's the percent that an estimated quantity differs from the actual amount. Same thing, measurement, estimation, and sales would be some real-world applications of this. Okay. So instead of putting the difference over the original, which is pretty much the same thing, you're going to put the difference over your prediction. Okay. So if you estimated that 200 people attended a school dance, that was your estimation, your prediction, but there was actually 240 people there, then you were off by a little bit. What percentage were you off by? Well, you predicted 200 people would be there. There's actually 240 people there. So you were off by about 40 people. Okay. Our proportion needs to say that the difference over the prediction, 40 over 200, is equal to x over 100. Cross multiply and divide. You might not even need to do that. 40 times 100 is 4,000. 200 times x is 200x. When you divide both sides by 200, you do come up with a nice little nifty percentage like 20%. Excellent job there, trying to find the percent of error, working through that example with me. Okay. Edpuzzle is going to ask you to read number 1, and then it's going to ask you to try to solve number 1. So good job trying to solve number 1. You should have found that there's like a 0.82% difference there in the prediction. You were off by 0.2 of a gram, and you predicted it would be 24.3 grams. You should have taken 0.2 and put it over 24.3 and got 82 hundredths percent. Okay, so that was just a couple examples of some percent of change problems. In stations tomorrow, we'll definitely do numbers 2 and 2, and then we'll definitely go here and look at the back and do some of these review problems on the back. Until then, remember to make it a great day or not, the choice is yours. And that of all the students I've ever taught, you are one of them. Have a great day.